5 years ago, my husband exiled me, leaving me for dead on the street to protect his pregnant mistress. Today I'm back, and the only thing I'm taking is his entire company. The day I returned to my country, the sunlight was exceptionally bright. I held my daughter's small hand, feeling the warmth of the motherland. It briefly made me forget the hardships I had endured. 5 years ago, the female secretary tumbled down the stairs, blood pouring from beneath her. I was terrified and rushed her to the hospital. Only then did I learn that she had miscarried. I hurriedly notified her boyfriend to come, but who arrived were my husband, Caleb, and my just-turned 5-year-old child. The female secretary, Serafina, adamantly claimed that I had pushed her down the stairs. In a fit of rage, Caleb froze my bank card and sent me abroad, leaving me penniless to fend for myself. They even called it a favor. I'm doing this to help you. Otherwise, Serafina would definitely report you and you'd end up in jail. Abroad, I not only lived a life of hunger and cold, but I also had to face sudden dangers at every moment. Without legal status or a place to stay, and unable to find a job, I was forced to sleep on the streets. On the streets late at night, no one knows what might happen to a lonely, helpless woman. Hunger, beatings, and sexual assault became everyday occurrences. The most terrifying thing was discovering that nearby homeless men had parts of their bodies removed in the middle of the night. I ran scared through the streets. If I hadn't met a kind woman who took me in and cared for me, I might have long since become an empty, lifeless corpse. Her circumstances were ordinary, but she treated me well. If she had a bite to eat, I would have a bite too. At that time, she was also pregnant. I could only repay her as best as I could, taking care of her daily needs. I also tried to find a job, but I was undocumented abroad, and no one dared to hire me. I had no choice but to look for odd jobs whenever I could. Life was hard, but we supported each other and were happy. Until the time she gave birth, due to complications, she hemorrhaged and died. I wept uncontrollably, losing all courage to go on living. But the doctor handed me the newborn Chloe. Holding the child's soft, delicate body, a spark of hope ignited within me. This child of my benefactor, I would raise her and see her grow. From that day on, I became Chloe's mother. We lived together, watching her grow little by little. After so many years of effort, and with a child as my motivation, my life gradually began to improve. But abroad was never truly my homeland. As soon as the opportunity arose, I immediately took Chloe back to our country. Chloe held my hand timidly and asked, "Mommy, there are so many people here who look like you. Will Chloe be excluded here?" "No, those who exclude Chloe are bad people. We don't play with bad people." Chloe nodded emphatically. Chloe remembered everything. Just as I stepped out of the hall, I ran straight into Caleb and his son, Owen. After such a long separation, there wasn't a shred of joy in my heart. There was only one thing: disgust. The father and son approached, their condescending posture as if looking down on something filthy. "You've been abroad for 5 years. The lesson should be enough. Serafina has agreed not to sue you. Come back with us." Owen followed suit, practically cut from the same mold as Caleb. "Mom, I hope you can learn from this lesson and stop hurting innocent people. If not, next time I will sever all ties with you." Chloe tugged at my hand, asking fearfully, "Mommy, who are all these people?" The moment Chloe called me Mommy, Caleb's face darkened abruptly, veins bulging on his forehead. "That child is yours, Alara. I only told you to go abroad to reflect, not to run wild and have a bastard. You really have no shame." Owen hurriedly said, "Mom, you really disgust me. Dad pampers Aunt Serafina every day for your sake. He doesn't even have time to come home, and you actually went abroad to have an illegitimate child. Don't you have any shame?" I sneered coldly in my heart. Pampering Serafina every day. Wasn't it the same before anything happened? So, according to their logic, am I supposed to thank them? I replied, "It has nothing to do with you. I'm your husband. How can it have nothing to do with me?" Caleb, furious, rushed forward and slapped me. "You had a child abroad just to get back at me, right, Alara? Such a clumsy revenge of yours doesn't bother me at all. I only find you filthy. I was really blind to help you. A filthy woman like you deserves to rot in jail." Seeing me being bullied, Chloe rushed forward and hammered Caleb's knee. "Don't you dare bully Mommy. Don't you dare bully Mommy." Owen shoved her to the ground, straddling Chloe as he swung his fists left and right. You bastard! It's all because of you that my mom turned into such a disgusting woman. All because of you. I hurriedly pushed Owen away and picked up the crying Chloe from the ground. Chloe is not a bastard. Owen plopped down on the ground and burst into tears, feeling wronged. You hit me because of that bastard. I don't want you to be my mom. I want Aunt Seraphina. Aunt Seraphina is the kindest and gentlest woman in the world. She would never treat me like this. Caleb also hugged Owen tenderly, looking at me with a face full of reproach. Alara, this is your son. You bully him over some bastard. No wonder Owen keeps urging me to be with Seraphina. You are completely unworthy of being Owen's mother. I had no mind to pay them any attention. My eyes were fixed on my Chloe. Chloe lay in my arms crying in distress. Her tears nearly broke my heart. At that moment, Caleb's phone suddenly rang. When he answered, his expression changed sharply. Owen, Aunt Seraphina is sick. We need to go back immediately. Owen quickly wiped away his tears. All right, let's head back. With that, the father and son turned and got into the car, flooring the accelerator as they drove off. Seraphina's words were like an imperial decree. Besides, she was the one who was sick. If this had been 5 years ago, I would have felt heartbroken. But now my heart was as still as water. That heart had long since died. How could it stir for them now? I held Chloe tightly and hurried home. As soon as I arrived, I found the lock had been changed, and no matter what, I couldn't open the door. I called my parents, but no one answered, so I had no choice but to call my uncle. The ringtone came from inside, and soon after, the front door opened. My uncle stood there. Seeing me return, he was overcome with emotion, tears welling up in his eyes. Alara, you're finally home. Uncle, where are my parents? Where did my mom and dad go? My uncle wept uncontrollably. Your parents went to find Caleb to seek justice for you. But your dad was so upset he ended up in the ICU, and your mom had a car accident on the way. Neither of them survived. I felt the world spin around me, almost collapsing to the ground. Uncle and Chloe caught me, and as I came to my senses, I clung to Uncle, sobbing uncontrollably. Uncle was gasping for breath through his own tears. That damn Caleb. Your parents' deaths are all because of him. Now that you're back, you absolutely must avenge your mom and dad. The hardships I'd endured over the years paled in comparison to the pain and anger I felt today. The man who once promised to protect me for a lifetime not only betrayed me in the end, but also destroyed my life and caused the death of my parents. He left me utterly alone in this world. I clenched my fists, filled with hatred, but my body, damaged from wandering abroad, still hadn't fully healed. I had nothing now. How could I possibly repay such a deep and bloody grudge? Suddenly I felt overwhelmed, a long-lost helplessness washing over me once again. My uncle patted my hand. Don't worry, I will definitely help you. I was placed in my uncle's company. At first, unfamiliar with the business, I often hit walls and was bullied by senior employees. But compared to the hardships I endured before, all of this seemed much gentler. Through endurance, continuous learning, and hard work, I finally achieved some success in the company. My uncle also arranged for me to handle major clients. This time, I had to snatch clients right from under Caleb's nose. I arrived early at the agreed location only to find Caleb already waiting. He looked at me mockingly, his eyes full of scorn. Didn't expect to see me here, did you? Alara, you really have a stubborn heart, coming to steal clients from me. Are you trying to make an enemy out of me? No matter what, it's the client's choice. We have no right to interfere, do we? Caleb's gaze was full of contempt. Exactly. Tell me, why did Miss Eleanor Vance call me over? Isn't it because she's already made her decision? Going against me is just asking for humiliation. His lofty demeanor was indeed very unpleasant. Especially knowing that my parents died because of him, my hatred for him grew even deeper. Caleb was very pleased to see the hatred in my eyes. He sneered. After all, you are Owen's mother. I won't make things too difficult for you. As long as you come back now, I can pretend nothing ever happened. Owen, that child who imitates Caleb and mistreats me. Isn't he the one who kept insisting that Seraphina be his mother? Why would I want a child like that? Go back? Why should I go back? You are the murderer who killed my parents, Caleb. My parents were nothing but kind to you. When you were struggling to start your business, they gave you money. If it weren't for their help back then, you wouldn't have what you have today." Caleb sneered. "Who told them to insult my Serafina? My Serafina was even driven to tears by their insults. If they got hit by a car and died, they deserved it. What does that have to do with me? If they were still alive, I would make them understand what it means to have their family torn apart. Caleb, because of a secretary, you've shattered my family. You will pay for this." I struggled to suppress the fury inside me. But right now I wanted nothing more than to tear this man apart with my bare hands. Yet, in Caleb's eyes, my anger was nothing more than the roar of an insignificant ant. Suddenly, Caleb slammed the table, his face darkening. "The retribution should fall on you. You can't even tolerate a child. You're a murderer. The only reason I've tolerated your return is because of our past ties and the fact that you're Owen's biological mother. I don't want to argue about the past, but don't cause trouble outside anymore. Go back and be a good mother to Owen." Tears streamed down my face instantly, my eyes filled with pain and despair, overwhelmed by a sense of shattering. "I told you from the start, the death of the child between you and Serafina has nothing to do with me. That day she suddenly provoked me, claiming she was pregnant with your child. But what she really wanted was the CEO's wife position. Then she fell down the stairs. She was trying to frame me. At that time I didn't even know you and Serafina were involved, let alone that Serafina was pregnant. I spoke with all the humility I could muster, as humble as possible. Yet my reaction seemed to Caleb like a confession of faith. His eyes blazed with fury. How could a mother possibly use her own child to frame you, Alara? You really make me lose respect for you. It seems the lesson I gave you wasn't enough. I should have let you die abroad. It really wasn't me. I love you so much. I never once suspected you of cheating. We were so happy together back then. Have you forgotten all that?" I cried uncontrollably, reaching out, desperate to hold Caleb back. But Caleb recoiled as if he had touched something filthy, shaking me off sharply. "You don't deserve my love, Mr. Caleb." A stern female voice sounded behind him. Caleb turned to look quickly, standing up. "Miss Eleanor Vance." I hurriedly wiped away my tears, revealing a trace of strength and stubbornness. Miss Eleanor Vance frowned tightly. "Mr. Caleb, I didn't expect your lifestyle to be so problematic, to utterly destroy your original wife. I think your character is seriously flawed. I will consider terminating our cooperation with your company." "No, Miss Eleanor Vance, you've misunderstood. This woman is entirely to blame for her own actions." Caleb was about to explain further, but Miss Eleanor Vance cut him off directly. "Enough. I don't want to hear a word from a scumbag. It's all lies. When Miss Eleanor Vance was young, she was left with nothing because of a mistress and almost didn't make it through. That's why she despises people who favor concubines and destroy their wives more than anything." Caleb's face went pale, and suddenly he realized what was happening. He turned to look at me. "You did this on purpose." I looked at him innocently. "But everything you did, isn't it all true? You ruined my parents for the sake of your mistress, and you even tried to kill me. Isn't all of that true?" "I was just helping Miss Eleanor Vance see your true colors." I knew Miss Eleanor Vance was a businesswoman. Out of sympathy and understanding, she would block Caleb. But if I wanted her to cooperate with me, I had to prove that I wasn't a fool. No business person would want to work with a fool. Caleb glared at me viciously. "Fine, don't get too happy too soon." But he spoke too harshly too soon. I had dealt with all the major clients of his company. Back when I was fighting alongside him to build the business, I put in a lot of effort. It was only after we had children that I felt at ease stepping back behind the scenes to be a full-time housewife. I knew them all well and I understood what kind of incentives would sway them. Within just a month, I had managed to win over the majority of their clients. Caleb had no choice but to come over with Owen to make amends. Owen looked at me with disdain, opening his mouth as if to say something flattering, but no words came out. In Caleb's subtle influence, I was nothing but a lowly ant, filthy and unworthy of the two of them. After a long pause, Owen finally said, "As long as you get rid of that bastard child, we'll forgive you. You're still my mom. When you get home, don't go against my dad. Just quietly serve me and Aunt Serafina. That's enough." Aunt Serafina is pregnant. This time you can't hurt her again. You need to learn how to take care of a pregnant woman. And after she has the baby, you should also learn about postpartum care. These words came from the child born beneath me. Under Caleb's upbringing, he had successfully become a dagger pointed straight at me. No need. I already have a well-behaved and sensible daughter. Owen looked at Caleb helplessly. Caleb cleared his throat, his tone tinged with displeasure. Alara, stop it. You're hurting the child's feelings too much. Heartbroken? I smiled faintly, unbuttoned my shirt, revealing a body covered in scars. These are the wounds I carry from abroad. Every day I lived barely fed and barely clothed, constantly violated. They treated me like a public restroom. And it's not just that. Every night I had to stay on high alert or I would become an empty corpse. Compared to being heartbroken, I value my life more. Caleb's pupils trembled in shock. He looked at me in disbelief. How did it come to this? I clearly arranged for someone to pick you up. I never wanted you to suffer so much. So I can never forgive you and your father. If I did, how could my parents rest in peace? No, it's not like that. Caleb's eyes suddenly filled with panic. Alara, I never intended for you to live like this. Those words before were just out of anger. I only wanted to teach you a lesson. How could I ever harm you? There must be some misunderstanding. He was desperate to explain to me, but I couldn't hear a single word. Slowly I put on my clothes. Caleb, there's no reconciliation between us, only a fight to the death. Caleb's face went pale. He stepped forward trying to grab me, but I took 2 steps back, and he didn't even touch the hem of my clothes. Alara, we've loved each other for so many years. Trust me, I would never go all out to destroy you. I just wanted to wake you up. I never intended to torment you. I sneered coldly and turned away with a flourish. That very night I received a call from Caleb. He spoke regretfully. I'm sorry, Alara. I just found out that the person I sent to meet you never actually found you. All these years he never came to tell me and you suffered so much. I'm truly sorry. Did he not find me or was he never there at all? I really couldn't find anything. If I had known you suffered so much, I would have definitely brought you back. Caleb, if you really sent someone, then there must be someone who doesn't want him to find me. After saying that, I hung up the phone. A few days later, Caleb found out that it was Serafina who had secretly bribed the contact person, telling him not to look for me. Caleb even brought Serafina over to apologize to me. Serafina bit her lip, her eyes shimmering with tears. I'm sorry, Alara. I never expected you to suffer so much. I was just so upset in my heart. My child died. And yet, you're living freely abroad. The moment he saw the tears in Serafina's eyes, Caleb's gaze softened considerably. Alara, she's still pregnant. How about you forgive her for now, and we'll settle things later? I smiled. The child isn't even mine. What does it have to do with me? What are you trying to slander me for ruining your child now? I'm no longer the Alara I was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, for the sake of this family, I could still tolerate Caleb's cold violence. Back then, I foolishly thought he was just overworked. And I even tried hard to find ways to ease his burden. But I never expected that he was just having an affair with Serafina with no energy left for me. In these 5 years I've lost too much. The pain taught me to hate. I hate them for ruining me so badly and for killing my parents. Caleb frowned and softly reproached. Alara, what you just said is too much. 5 years ago you harmed her child. It was I who kept persuading her not to report you to the police. Otherwise, you would have gone to jail. Since Serafina appeared by his side, he has never spoken to me as gently as he did today. I know this is because I have grasped his weak spot, causing significant damage to his company. I am no longer the person I used to be. If I were still that pitiful creature, he wouldn't feel any guilt toward me, nor would he lower his voice when speaking to me. Just let her report it to the police. If I didn't do it, then I didn't do it. Reporting it can even prove my innocence, right? Saying this, I looked at Serafina. Whoever doesn't report it is the one who feels guilty, right? Serafina stepped back in fear. Could it be that I would use my child's life to slander you? That's a life, Alara. What you're doing is really too much. As she spoke, Serafina broke down in tears, sobbing uncontrollably. My poor child never even got a chance to see this world. If only I could trade my life for theirs. How wonderful that would be. Caleb stepped forward, heart aching, and supported her. Serafina, don't be too upset. Serafina's eyes were filled with tears, looking so pitiful that it softened my heart. But I had no patience for their drama, and stood up to leave. Caleb instinctively wanted to chase after me. But Serafina, clutching her stomach, suddenly cried out in pain. Caleb hesitated for a moment, then decided to carry Serafina. After keeping a low profile for a few days, Caleb secretly contacted me again. Clara, we're still husband and wife, and you're Owen's mother. We both miss you very much. Will you come home? Honestly, I've missed you all these years. If you hadn't gone too far, I would have wanted to bring you back. Clara, let's just forget the past. The two of us can live a good life together. Okay? I didn't reply with a single word. Instead, I took a screenshot and sent it to Serafina. At home, Serafina was crying and throwing a tantrum again. Caleb coaxed her for a long time before she finally calmed down. To appease Serafina, Caleb even gave her jewelry worth millions. I know because Serafina bragged to me. She sent me a selfie deliberately highlighting the jewelry. This was given to me by Caleb. You don't have one, do you? He said it's worth 10 million and only I deserve it. Some yellow-faced old hags haven't even received jewelry worth 100,000. Caleb had given me million-dollar jewelry before, but I wasn't interested in jewelry. Besides, his company was just starting to take off back then and I didn't want him to spend extravagantly. Caleb held me and said, "My wife is so wonderful. From now on, I'll buy you the best jewelry." Later, when he became successful, he never gave me anything again. The sweet words from back then were thrown to the winds. Even so, I never blamed him for it. It wasn't until one expensive piece of jewelry after another appeared on Serafina that Caleb said, "Serafina often accompanies me to events. What she wears isn't jewelry, it's my reputation." Only then did I realize that the jewelry I once thought was too expensive had ended up on another woman. But in my heart I was no longer angry. I replied, "No matter what you say, you're still a mistress without even a proper status. It's because you're a mistress that those clients were poached from me. In the end, it's because he doesn't care for you. He won't even give you a status." Serafina didn't respond for a long time. I knew she had gone to confront Caleb. This was exactly the outcome I wanted. Caleb and I should have divorced long ago. Half a month later, under the pressure of Owen and Serafina, Caleb went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Owen held Serafina's hand, looking at me with a defiant expression. "Bad woman, you deserve to be abandoned by Dad. Who told you to always go against us? This time you lose the bastard, and we don't want you anymore." Serafina's smile was radiant like spring. Only Caleb looked worried. His company was currently in a critical moment, and divorcing now was obviously not a wise move. But Owen and Serafina were standing on the opposite side against him, both his most cherished family members, and he was truly helpless. When he looked at me, his eyes were full of reluctance. "Clara, there's no need for things to come to this between us. Can we make up?" Serafina's face immediately darkened. "No way." I refused decisively. After coming this far, how could I possibly forgive him? Under the supervision of Serafina and Owen, we quickly obtained the divorce certificate. When I got it, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I was finally divorced from the man who caused my parents' death. A few months later, Serafina gave birth to a boy. Caleb, however, wasn't very happy. The company's troubles had him overwhelmed, while Serafina kept demanding love, attention, and material wealth. That trace of first love in my heart had, under the pressure of life, turned into a grain of rice stuck at the corner of his mouth. The happiest person in their marriage was originally Owen. But with the birth of Serafina's son, Owen became the one who was ignored. Serafina's true nature gradually surfaced. By the time Owen was being bullied and sensed something was wrong, Caleb no longer cared about the family. Owen could only come to me in tears complaining, "Mom, Serafina has been deceiving me all along. She's been siphoning off the family's money from the start. She even conspired with her best friend to kick me out in the future and have her son inherit the company. Mom, she bullies me and secretly hits me. Please come save me." After hearing his sobbing story, I coldly said, Is Serafina not your mother? I'm not your mom. If you have grievances, go find your own mother. With that, I hung up the phone. Afterward, he tried to contact me again, but I hung up every time he called. Gradually, he realized I wouldn't answer his calls anymore. So he often sent me messages pouring out his grievances, sometimes even attaching pictures of his injuries. I saw them, but I pretended not to. At Serafina's son's full-month celebration, I arrived amid the astonished gazes of everyone. Serafina's relatives watched me wearily, their tone unfriendly as they said, "What are you doing here? Are you trying to cause trouble?" Hearing their sarcastic remarks, I looked at Caleb, who awkwardly and guiltily averted his eyes. Only Caleb and Owen knew about this. They hurt me yet mocked my scars. But now I simply don't care. Scars I can talk about are the hardships I have long since overcome. Serafina shot me a glare. "What are you doing here?" "Of course, I came to deliver a big gift." I smiled, and immediately someone behind me brought out a large screen displaying footage of Serafina framing me 5 years ago. The video showed Serafina standing on the stairs still some distance from me. She looked at me with a provocative smile. "Clara, do you believe that with just one move I could leave you with nothing?" Confused, I watched as she suddenly lunged forward and tumbled down the stairs. Even so, I called emergency services and had her taken to the hospital. What happened next, Caleb knows all too well. Seeing this clip, everyone was so shocked they couldn't close their mouths. Serafina, pale-faced, explained, "None of this is true. It's a video fabricated by Clara. She's slandering me. Whether it's slander or not, we'll find out soon enough. I've already uploaded it online, and all the netizens will help verify the authenticity of the video." Caleb and Serafina's faces darkened even more. Caleb, furious, slapped Serafina. "I trusted you so much, and yet you're such a vicious woman, not even sparing your own child." Serafina tore off the mask completely. "It's all because of you. You said you loved me so much, called me your true love. But what did you do? You only made me your secret lover. I suffered so much for you. So on what grounds do you accuse me? You." Caleb wanted to scold Serafina again, but was stopped by others. Now is not the time to hit her. The video has already been uploaded online. "Mr. Caleb, if you don't handle this soon, our company is truly finished." After the reminder, Caleb barely regained some composure. His eyes filled with guilt as he looked at me. "I'm sorry, Clara. I misunderstood you. I really didn't know you suffered such injustice. I trusted the wrong person. I'm sorry. What can I do to make it up to you?" I looked at him coldly. "Caleb, once I have money and power in my hands, I realize finding this surveillance footage isn't actually that hard. Why didn't you look for it back then?" Caleb was speechless. I continued, "Because you never wanted to find it in the first place. I was wrongfully accused by Serafina, but you are the real culprit. All my suffering was caused by you. What I can never forgive is that you killed my parents. All of you go to hell." Caleb looked at me with utter despair, mirroring the helplessness and pain I once felt. I turned to leave, but Owen rushed over, clinging to my leg, pitifully pleading, "Mom, please take me with you." I shoved Owen away. "You promised me your mom is only Serafina. I'm not worthy to be your mother." Owen sat on the ground crying, but my heart remained untouched. I glanced at Caleb. "Caleb, you've raised your son well. However you treat me, he will treat me the same. You two are the real family, so don't let your son bother me anymore." With that, I left with my people. The things I uploaded online quickly caused a huge uproar. My past and my parents were all dug up by netizens. They all felt sorry for me and started boycotting Caleb. They were all condemning Caleb and Serafina. I became the biggest winner. My uncle couldn't stop smiling. "Good. I knew you could do it, Clara. Your parents are watching from heaven, and I believe they must be very proud. Yeah, I brought such great benefits to the company. Asking for 40% of the shares isn't too much, right?" My uncle's expression changed. "Clara, I'm helping you get revenge and you're telling me this? How did you become like this? Weren't you the one who always made outrageous demands?" "Uncle, I know you're using me to deal with Caleb and I went along with it. Besides, haven't I earned enough to deserve 40% of the shares? You weren't acting like this when you were seizing my parents' assets." After my parents died, I was still abroad, and my uncle took over all the assets. The success of his company now must partly be thanks to my parents as well. The look in my uncle's eyes changed, no longer the kindly expression he usually wore. 40% is too much. Everyone online is feeling sorry for me right now. If I sued you at this moment, would those clients still stick with you? They've always been the ones I dealt with. If I set up my own business now, it would be a huge blow to your company too. Hearing my words, my uncle gritted his teeth and resolutely agreed. All right, I promise you. I got the result I wanted and sold my parents' house. With all the money in hand, I took Chloe abroad with me. There is no longer a home for me here. All that's left are deep scars. But Chloe's future is still long, and I want to give her a bright future. As for the rest, my uncle and Caleb, evil men will be dealt with by evil men. Who wins or loses is already clear at a glance. So, I'm not worried at all about Caleb making a comeback. On the 5th day after I went abroad, Caleb and Owen searched the world over for me, hoping to seek my forgiveness. The end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed Clara's story, please hit that subscribe button and join our community for more compelling dramas. See you next time.